Well, good morning, everyone, and especially Karen Reilley. So glad to have you on the call. Karen and I met through a common dear friend, Doug Dickey, and I've known him maybe even longer than you, I guess around 30 something years. But Karen, I'm just so delighted that you've come on the call, and I just want to share some things here because you're a big deal. First time I met you, I was just caught up in it. Some people just have this glow, this charisma. About you're somebody. You probably do a lot and have big influence. I thought that must be Karen Reilley, and so I'm really glad you came to that little dinner party that we had at Doug's house. But so let me just kind of read some stuff here because this is big. Okay, so Karen's worked with billion-dollar direct sales companies, served in a variety of leadership and key coordination roles that include associate training and development, customer quality assurance, information technology, deployment, and international expansion. She's developed and managed call centers with 150 plus team members, supporting 20 plus countries, as well as served as a senior executive for more than 15 years. Overall, spending 25 years in this business. And I would just say doing that again and again and again. I could think of 3 companies that you were at the very beginning and helped them become billion-dollar companies. And that's why I wanted to visit with you, not only because I just enjoy hanging around good people that are going somewhere, but also we're involved in an enterprise. And I just thought, tell us a little bit about how you got into this. I love the human interest part, but also what kind of company does that, and what kind of company fizzles out? What are the success leads, clues, and so does failure, and what do you see that it takes? And I would say that on the corporate side, but also on the distributor side, because some people get in and don't do anything at all, and some rise to the top. You've had a part in that as well. And then, of course, I would like you to just kind of, I guess, take your analytical approach to what you see in our new company, and if you think we have a chance. So I'll turn it over to Karen.
Thanks, Dave. It's just an honor to have been invited to share a few minutes this morning with you and your team. I echo your comments. Getting together at Doug's house that night, man, it filled my cup, as I like to say. It just really filled my cup to see so many wonderful people working together for a common goal, for the betterment of themselves, their families, their communities. But it was just so much fun too. I mean, people were just belly laughing, and there was music, and people were sharing their talents, and it just gives me the goosebumps to think about it. So thank you so much for inviting me to be with you this morning.
I just got to interrupt. Okay, Rick Deitch, he's a genius formulator, amazing biochemist, and he's a heck of a musician. He actually composed a song to court his wife, and he sang that for us with the guitar. So I thought it was pretty special. So back to you.
Yeah, it was really special. When people can get together and share their talents like that, it really goes beyond just that evening. Right. It really stays, it creates these memories that you have that instantly bring you back to that moment in time. Again, that's why you get the goosebumps when you think of certain things, because there's an emotion attached to that experience. And it was just such a great night. It's so fun to see you guys being able to travel all over and visit with people. Hey, congrats, by the way. I just saw some of those pictures from Facebook that you posted. Your new place in Coeur d'Alene looks beautiful.
That was actually celebrating 12 years ago, so we actually moved again. So, but we're in Idaho for 12 years now. That was I just kind of. But anyway, thank you.
That's wonderful. So you asked me about how I got started in network marketing. Again, just to be clear for folks, I've spent over 20 years working on the corporate side of network marketing companies, and the way I got into it was very much like anybody that would get into it. I had actually moved from California to Utah and got involved with a cosmetology school. And so I got my license and I started doing hair in this little salon in this little city called Provo, Utah, and trying to drum up business, right? Not making any money. I was a single mom And if I wanted to eat that day, as they say, you eat what you kill, right? If I wanted to eat that day, I had to go find some hair to cut. So I just hit the streets and I started passing out my business cards and started offering like coupons and things like that. But I happened to work 1 block away from what was then called the Tower of Power. And it was the tallest building in the city at that point. It was 10 stories tall, and it was all black. It had this blackout glass on it. And so I went into this organization and I left my business cards and I started to get some business from folks that worked there. And every time somebody came in and sat down and visited with me, they were just powerful lights of just fun. They were creative. They were curious. They were always talking about something interesting that was happening at their organization. And I just started to feel like I wanted to hang out with these people more. I kind of felt like they were my tribe. Like everything that they were doing just sounded and felt so right for me. It's like when you walk into a party and it's like the old TV show Cheers, right? You walk in the door and everyone says Norm, right? It just felt like family immediately with them. And so I knew that I wanted to be part of the organization. So I actually left my career in cosmetology and went to work for this little company. It was about that time, they were already about 10 years old. But in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of an infant still. Now the company is 40 years old. They're doing multiple $1 billion in sales. They're still an incredible organization. And so that's kind of how I got my start. It was really the people. It was the people that I wanted to associate with, the people that I wanted to hang out with. So that's kind of how I got involved. And then I was hooked, right? Then I was hooked. It was I got to meet people from all over the world that were doing incredible things with their lives, that were constantly focused on personal development for themselves, but also for their circle of influence. And that really meant something to me. So I worked there for about 6.5 years, 7 years. Then I went to work for a startup. And man, there is nothing more exhilarating than the beginning of something, right? It's just the adrenaline rush that you have every single morning when you wake up, knowing that there's new opportunities that can be created, knowing that there's these incredible offerings that you're going to be putting in place for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people around the world. I became an MLM junkie. I really did. And I love startup. The guys that I've worked with in the past used to say, you do startup really well, because I'm very high energy, and I love the high energy of that a startup brings. So spent another 6 years with this new startup company. And what was so interesting about this organization was, we broke all the land speed records for network marketing at that time. We were the fastest growing company to $1 billion in cumulative sales. We did that our first 3 years. And, over time, it was so interesting because I watched the founders of that organization, get on stage and get awards and get written up in magazines. And I mean, it just felt like it was, could never end, right? But an interesting thing happens when big money starts to happen. Ego and economics really start to play a major role in the direction of the organization. And, you can win all these awards and you can be the fastest, you can be the best, but if you're not strategic, if you're not thoughtful, if you're not disciplined, doesn't mean much. That company doesn't exist anymore. And so it's such an interesting experience. The first experience I had with this company that's still around today, and the second company that I went to work for that is no longer around today, and then the third company that I went to work for, again, another startup organization. And just the best time, right? Just the best time of my life in this industry. So that's a little bit about my 20 years. Let me share some thoughts. Dave, one of the things that you mentioned was, the question that you asked me was, what are some of the essential qualities that a company has to have in order to be successful? And having now seen all three of these organizations do well in all kinds of areas and not do well in all kinds of areas, I feel pretty qualified to be able to talk about that for a few minutes. So the first thing that a company has to have in order to be successful is products that people believe in. It's interesting. I think the word breakthrough, I don't know about you, but I think the word breakthrough sometimes is overplayed anywhere. There are lots of breakthroughs that happen all the time, but cars, take cars, electric cars, they're not a breakthrough anymore, right? People are driving them, but have you ever met an electric car enthusiast? They love their car. They are passionate about electric vehicles. They are passionate about renewable energy. A movie, mascara, any product that you can buy today is really probably not a breakthrough in the true sense, but it's the passion and the belief about that product that is going to be the power behind the success of the organization. It's kind of one of those foundational pieces. So you have to have products, and it's interesting because you look around and some companies, they don't have great products. They have good products, but they have products that people are passionate about. So first and foremost, you have to align yourself with an organization that you have a connection with on their product set. You have to believe in that product set. The second thing that I would say is key for an organization to be sustainable is their compensation program. Compensation is a pretty big word in this space because it actually encompasses so much more than just a commission. Compensation can take the form of incentive trips. It can take the form of a car program. It can be vacations. It can be a commission check, of course. But along with how the sales force is being paid, a company that's going to be significant in the space, a company that is going to be a legacy, they have to be financially responsible, corporate-wise. So many times, maybe not necessarily with the organizations that I worked for, but so many companies in this space have just abused that checkbook over and over and over again. And the truth is, it's heartbreaking because a company that is not financially sound is not stable. They don't pivot very quickly. They don't respond to the needs of the sales force because they're over leveraged in certain areas. So when I say compensation, I'm talking about not only just the sales force being compensated, but the compensation program within the organization that keeps them financially responsible on how they open countries, what products to invest in, what kind of money can they put back into their IT infrastructure. See, all of those things are very expensive. And so if they're mismanaging their funds internally, I can promise you they're going to mismanage your funds externally. So compensation is a big piece of success that I've seen over the years. The other thing that I would say that you want to look for in a company that's going to be around a while is one of my favorite things is recognition. There was an article in Forbes and it said something about receiving praise and recognition. When you have this effectively implemented in your teams, you can actually improve your team engagement by over 30%. Over 30%, that's a big deal. When you think about how long people stick around in organizations and what you're trying to accomplish here, people that receive praise and recognition from their peers, their managers, their teammates, they're 33% more likely to be proactive innovators. That's a big deal. When you can share some kindness and shower people with a little bit of appreciation and praise, you are going to be you're going to increase your personal income 2x. So I just think power of recognition is often misunderstood in network marketing. Sometimes it's overhyped. And I just don't think that you can share enough recognition at every level, not just that top tier level, right? As somebody who has seen people come in and out and make lots of money in these organizations, they all had one thing in common. Their goal, they started out with the company, they stood in the back of the room. Then their next goal was to get in front of the room. And the goal after that was to get back to the back of the room. So when recognition is a big piece for me that shows the company has the right intention on making sure that the people that are out putting their reputation on the line every day. This is your circle of influence. These are your friends, your families, your neighbors. It's your reputation that you put on the line every time you go out and promote that product that you believe in. And so being recognized for those behaviors, I think, is very, very, very important. There's, when you're praised, your brain releases dopamine, and that cements that behavior in over and over and over again. So it's again, you become kind of like a little junkie, right? You want that quick hit of dopamine. So recognition is the third piece for me. The fourth part of a company that's going to last a while, in my opinion, Dave, is, of course, leadership, people. It's such an interesting opportunity that this space allows you to come into an organization with little to no sales experience, little to no marketing experience, little to no product experience, and really create a community that you are so connected to, it stands the test of time, regardless of where you live, regardless of how much time goes by. The communities that you build within network marketing are truly remarkable. I mean, most people don't do network marketing full time. So most of your audience, most of your team on the call today, I'm guessing they probably have full-time jobs, right? Think about maybe a job you had 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago. And think about just for a moment the people that you worked with. Now, assuming you don't work at that company anymore, are you still friends with those people? I mean, really, really friends with those people? I would guess that maybe one or two kind of have rolled along with you, but I can't tell you in the 25 years I've been in this, I still talk to people that I supported as a customer service agent 20 years ago at that very first company. I still get text messages. We still catch up. We still go to lunch. And these people live all over the world. So the people, I think you have to look at an organization that is attracting the type of people that are going to protect that reputation, protect that legacy. So the people inside the organization, the people outside the organization, so that the people that you align yourself with, you have to lock arms with them, right? You have to get your hands dirty with them. When you're looking at a company that's going to be successful, the first thing I would tell you to look at as far as the people is not necessarily the experience, but it's the relationship that they have with their sales force. So the corporate left hand, the sales field right hand, how do those two organizations come together, right? How do they respond to one another? How do they react? And I use respond and react intentionally because, if you walk into a room and it's your tribe, it's your community, you're embraced. But you walk into a room and it's cold and it's harsh and it's, get to the point and people don't matter, then you probably don't want to align yourself with that organization. So I always want to make sure that the two sides of this team are playing well together. You have to respect, does the corporate team and the field team, do they respect and honor each other in their roles that they're there to fulfill? You think about a car. Every single thing on a car has a function. Everything has a purpose. It doesn't matter whether that particular car part is a $5,000 car part, or if it's a 50-cent car part. They have to work together. They each serve a very critical function. So, those are 4 pieces for me, Dave, that are essential in an organization being successful. Products that people believe in, that they get passionate about. They don't have to be the biggest and the best and the shiniest. They don't have to be complicated. They don't, I personally believe simpler is better. But you have to be passionate about them. And then financial responsibility. How do they pay their field? How do they use their resources, their financial resources inside and outside the organization? Recognition is a huge one. And then, of course, the people. So what happens when you find this, right? What happens when all of a sudden you have all of these pieces that have come together and are in your face, so to speak? So do you remember the movie A League of Their Own with Tom Hanks and Gina Davis?
I'll have to go see it. I haven't seen it.
It's about what happened after the draft, and all of the men were called off to war, and they put together a women's baseball league, the very first time in the country. And anyways, there's a scene in this movie where Gina Davis, who is the best player in the league, is quitting. She's taking off, and she says to Tom Hanks, who's the manager of the ball team, she says, it just got too hard. And it was such a beautiful moment where he turns to her and he says, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everybody would do it. And, when you find all of these pieces in an organization that you want to align yourself with, get ready for the hard part. Because regardless of how much experience you have in sales or marketing or building teams or whatever that experience is that you have, it's still going to be hard.
Easy just doesn't pay well.
Exactly. Right. And it's so funny because what a false assumption so many people have about how difficult and how hard it is to really earn a check consistently. But it's supposed to be hard, even when you have all of the right pieces.
How do you know you're on the road to success? I've heard, because you're going uphill.
That's so true. So true. Yeah, I like that one. I like the road to success. It's always uphill. That's good. One of the things that I've seen that's common with success in this space, and again, it's interesting because I had to redefine my entire vocabulary in this industry, because the word success, I think for a lot of people, our immediate trigger is financial success. But that's not true necessarily, right? You never know how much money somebody needs before they feel successful. Go back to those small points of recognition. It doesn't take much to keep people coming back. It doesn't take much to keep people moving forward. It doesn't take much to let someone feel like they've contributed in a way that makes them feel successful as a person. So some of the things that I have seen very common in those that have tremendous financial success, but also tremendous personal success, well-rounded lifestyles, knowing when to say no, knowing when to say yes, I have a phrase, the 3 Ds. When you're presented with something, you either do it yourself, you either delegate it to somebody, or you dump it, because it's not going to help you get where you need to go. That's one of the things that successful lifestyles and the people that enjoy them all have in common. They've recognized what they need to do themselves. They've recognized what they can ask someone else to do. And they recognize when something is just taking up space and they just need to get rid of it. So they have a very strong sense of where to spend their time. And they don't make any excuses. They simply do not make any excuses. That's the other thing that successful people have in common. They don't blame it on someone else. They don't accuse others of taking something that could have made them successful, right? They make no excuses. They recognize their limitations. They recognize where they may have failed. And that's what makes them successful, because they keep doing it over and over and over again. So they don't make any excuses. They just keep going until they get to where they needed to go. So, that's a couple of the key points that jump out at the time where I think of, over the last 20, 25 years with successful people. So Dave, I'm not sure if there's a couple minutes. I have one quick quote I wanted to share before I kind of turn the time back over to you, because this was something that really got me through very difficult times during a startup phase. Because again, startup is hard. But it was some of you may have heard it. It's The Man in the Arena by Teddy Roosevelt. I'm just going to read it here, so forgive me if I'm not staring right at you. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That little phrase has gotten me through so many hard days, just remembering that joy, that comparison is the thief of joy. When you compare your success or your progress or your journey or your uphill road to somebody else's, it is going to rob you of all of the joy that is waiting for you if you just get back into that arena and stop listening to the critics, stop listening to the naysayers. You have to believe in yourself just as much as you believe in that product that you're so passionate about sharing with others. So Dave, thank you so much for inviting me on. I don't know if you have any questions or if there's anything else I can share, but man, it's so good to see you.
Oh, so good to see you. And you've got me really excited. I love being at the beginning of something that you just in your heart, is going to be big. You can just feel it. All the indicators are in place where we're at. All of our products, we've got thousands of people that are already passionate about them because they've been around for a while. And the only thing new is we're doing it ourselves, our own company. But the products, you study it, it's got a long history. And I'm so excited. I can't stand it. Vince Lombardi, he says it's more fun to create than to maintain. And of course, you think about maintain, there isn't such a thing. You're either going forward or backwards. Nothing's static. And it's when I'm green, I'm growing, but when I'm ripe, I'll soon be rotten. So it's fun to be anxiously engaged in so great a cause.
Yeah,
but, I love this kind of the idea that timing's right, market immeasurable, opportunity unsurpassed. But then I love this idea, and it's asked many times, and you'll probably have it happen to you, and I've got the perfect answer when it happens, is how long does it take the average person to go diamond?
Mhm.
Answer, the average person never will go diamond.
That's so true. That's so true. And that's the thing I think that keeps people like you and me so connected to this industry and these opportunities, and keeps us working so hard, is everyone's on their own journey. And those that find success and find joy, are the ones that are not average. And how exciting is it to surround yourself with people who recognize the power of partnership, the power and leveraging people so that everybody gets to win. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I'm a certified facilitator for an organization called the Arbinger Institute, and they teach these principles that people matter. They should not be treated as vehicles for you to get somewhere. They should not be treated as obstacles that stand in your way of getting somewhere. They should be leveraged, because when you find all of the right pieces, like you have found with your team, Dave, and with your company, there really are limitless possibilities for people to engage with, surround themselves with, and become more than they ever thought was possible. So I'm so excited about what you guys are doing. You mentioned that and yeah, Dave, or you've known Doug longer than I have. And what a great guy. Oh my goodness. I just love that guy. And he keeps in touch with me regularly. And I am constantly saying, this is remarkable, Doug. What you guys are doing, what you have been able to put together is nothing short of remarkable. It's absolutely outstanding what you guys have created, accomplished. I'm so happy for your success with everything that's going on, and all the expansion and all of the growth that you guys are experiencing. It's phenomenal. I'm super happy for you.
Well, let's talk about Doug. We've both known him for many years. Haven't you noticed this last while? He's not the same. He's just a higher version of himself. I love seeing him on fire, just shining eyes and just boundless energy. And it's fun to be absolutely enthralled with something. I love being on fire rather than and that he was kind of just a long time just kind of waiting to check out. And
yeah.
And so, wow, being anxiously engaged in something, you just know, you can feel it's going somewhere. And I love this idea that confidence and really confidence in something because it's actually happening is some of the most powerful charisma there is. And it's just fun to see that happen to people, including our friend Doug. He's going somewhere, and I want to go on the same path.
Yeah, man, it's, again, I just keep getting drawn back into the incredible gift that this industry offers people who are willing to take advantage of it. And it's the gift of personal development.
Yeah, it's an advanced course of accelerated learning, and perhaps the most important thing, personal development, because success, happiness, we all have some idea. We all would love to have it, but of course, you really think about it, you'll notice that pretty much anything to do with that involves other people, and so much of success and happiness is just our ability to relate to other people, and if you got something where you can contribute and make someone's life better because you were there, that's the highest purpose that I think we will all agree on. And here's a way, if you have amazing products that are powerfully able to transform somebody's health, and then have that multiplying effect where you can make that goodness happen, where just imagining that you could help in a real wonderful way thousands of people by teaching people how to teach people, and you're in an organization that actually gives you those skills to better influence people. It's just, wow, that's a rich way to live your life. Wow.
It really is. Watching that spark come back into someone's eyes, whew, that just gets me going, right?
Oh, you see that, and then you think, I got to be a part of that. I got to light the match. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. What a wonderful gift you can be in someone's life if you'll just take a moment and recognize that regardless of what someone may or may not be going through, if they have the same fears as you, they have the same hopes. We all have fears, we all have hopes, we all have dreams. We are all people that matter. And at any given time, what you have the power to do in touching someone's life with a product that makes a difference, with people that make a difference, with financial assistance that makes a difference, you have the power to actually change the legacy of other families. You can impact someone's health and finances for generations if you'll just recognize that what you are offering to someone has to meet their needs. And once their needs are met, they're off to the races, so to speak, right? And I'm just thrilled to know the people that are in this organization with you and know their hearts, and go back to what have I seen in a company that you should be looking for and holding people accountable for is the partnership between the sales force and the corporate team. And when you can find that beautiful partnership, you can be confident that your reputation and your circle of influence will be protected, and that generations of your family and others will be benefited.
Awesome. Well, that's probably a good finale right there. I love just kind of thinking this simple idea, but it's so profound to me, that God is in the people business when you really come down to it, and we should be too. We should be his hands and feet, going out and touching people. And we got something great to do. So let's go for it.
Yeah,
Karen, thank
absolutely.
you so much. Sure love you, and I'm glad you're our friend.
I am too. Hey, give Valerie a big, huge hug for me. You guys have a great time with your friends this weekend. Enjoy, and I'm sure we'll be talking again real soon.
Oh, let's do it. Okay, let's do it again.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Bye.
You bet. Bye-bye.